All right. Hello over there on YouTube. We will be getting started in just a second here. Just going to get myself a screen shared and we can get started. All right. So hello everyone. This is Michael Demond here with Remerge Media. Been a long time since I've been here over on YouTube with you. Today I have to work on a LinkedIn newsletter, and I decided I would turn this into an opportunity to just share with you some of the reasons why I use LinkedIn newsletters. And if you don't have a LinkedIn newsletter, walk you through that process of how to create one. I believe that you do have to have your account on LinkedIn turned into a creator profile, but we'll kind of look at that and see what some of the requirements are. I'm actually going to develop a newsletter for We Merge AI, which is a newsletter that I currently publish. Been publishing that for the past few months, and I want to create a new newsletter about personal branding under the Brand New Shoots brand. So this year I've been doing a lot with AI, and some of the things that I've been doing is figuring out how can entrepreneurs be using AI to be able to assist them in positioning and with personal branding. We launched a service called Brand New Shoots, which I'm teaching, or not teaching, but really providing people with professional headshots, something that typically gets in the way for most entrepreneurs. Sometimes it's just hard to find a photographer. They may not have the time. The investment might be a little bit steep for people to get a photo shoot done. A lot of the women that I talk to, they talk about how, when they have to plan for a shoot, I don't have hair. I'm typically not going to do makeup. There's a lot different preparation process for me being a bald guy who doesn't have to invest in all these extra things compared to some of the women clients that I have who then have to invest in like getting their hair done, makeup done, getting wardrobe, doing multiple wardrobe changes. There's like all these extra costs that are associated with that. So this year we launched Brand New Shoots to provide people with AI generated professional photos that look like them without all the extra expenses. So that has grown into adding social media graphics that people can use to promote themselves online, and now also developing automated lead generation funnels, all personally branded using the AI photos and AI graphics. So we have our Rise with AI workshop coming up this weekend. That's going to be the next level of Brand New Shoots, where we're teaching people now how to take those AI photos and convert them into content and AI videos. So the newsletter I'm going to create today for We Merge AI is really going to cover a lot of that. I did work with ChatGPT to develop the copy for the newsletter. I'll show you that. And then we'll also switch over and I'll show you how I go about creating content for newsletters using ChatGPT when we do the one for Brand New Shoots. So we're going to switch over and do some screen share. We'll take some time to be able to ask any questions that people have. So feel free to post your questions if you're watching in the live stream um, down below. And for those of you who might be watching here with me on Zoom, you can use the chat. All right. So let's get the screen share going, and we'll start by looking up LinkedIn and just make sure we understand what the prerequisites are for you to have a LinkedIn newsletter. So give me just a second to switch over, and then we'll take a look at that together. Okay, so let me get my screen share. All right. So first thing that I'd recommend you do is just make sure that you understand what the requirements are. Because I know when I started and set up my LinkedIn newsletter, I had to convert my profile over. I don't know if they still require you to do that. So we're going to just take a look at that so you can make sure that your account is set to creator mode if it needs to be. Originally, that was part of the criteria, but again, it might not be anymore. So I went and searched for LinkedIn newsletter. Here's a frequently asked questions. All right. All LinkedIn members have access to create a newsletter on LinkedIn, so that's good. Company page access requirements are detailed in LinkedIn newsletter criteria. So it looks like all LinkedIn members can now create that. You don't have to have a creator profile anymore. The instructions are here on how you can do that. I'm going to get signed into my LinkedIn account, and we're going to walk through this process together now that we know what the prerequisites are. So the way that you get to this, if you go to your LinkedIn profile and you will see write an article. I'm going to click on write an article. And on the write an article page, there's a manage option. So here I can click on newsletter, and then I have an option to write an article that's going to appear in my WeMerge AI newsletter, or I can create a newsletter, a new newsletter. So I'm going to click on WeMerge AI. A couple things that I think are important to know about this. When you first create your newsletter, it's going to have you just give a brief description about what your newsletter is about, how often you're going to publish. What this does is it lets people know who might subscribe to your newsletter how often they should expect it. So mine is called WeMerge AI. And then I have a sub description called Future Proof Your Business with AI Technology. So that's what it's about. And then you'll see here that it's published weekly. I currently have 175 subscribers. So anyone on LinkedIn can subscribe to your newsletter. When you first create it, they're going to send a notification out to all of your connections and friends, people that you're connected with, and say, hey, Michael just created a new newsletter. How would you like to subscribe? So the original bunch of people who subscribed came through that. As your newsletter is out and you're putting content out and it gets indexed inside of LinkedIn's platform, you'll start to get more subscribers, people who are visiting your profile who are going to subscribe. So it's a great way for you to be able to leverage your audience because most people may not necessarily be paying attention to your feed. But when you create a LinkedIn newsletter and those people subscribe to that newsletter, they'll get an email from LinkedIn every time you publish. So you basically have LinkedIn doing email marketing on your behalf when you use the LinkedIn newsletter, which is why I like to use it. I'm gonna just pull up real quick just some stats. So there's some analytics on here. In the past year, I've gotten 26 new subscribers. Article views is about 567. You'll see in the beginning of the year, from January to March, that I did not have a whole lot of content, and I believe that's because I was not publishing yet. So I created the newsletter to kind of test the feature out, but didn't start publishing until about May. So that's why I have a big gap in the beginning of the year. The other thing that's nice about this is that you can see your subscriber demographics. So here I can see that I have 7% owners, chief executives. If I want to see by locations where my subscribers are, good percentage of them are in Greater Milwaukee and then Phoenix. You can also take a look at industries that your subscribers are in. So there's a good mix there. Seniority, entry level, senior. So there's a lot of data that you could use here to talk about like who's following you and who those people are. There's also a section down below to show you like your most recent subscribers. So you can see that down here. So let's go back and let's actually do a creation. Let's create a newsletter. It's going to start, as I mentioned, as writing an article. So I'm going to click on writing an article. The components of this is that you're going to need to have a cover image eventually. You can either design one in Canva or maybe you'll want to make one in ChatGPT. You have a section here for your title, and then you have a section where you can put your actually newsletter or article content. So I was already creating something that I needed to publish this week for WeMerge AI. I'm going to go over to my ChatGPT and pull that up. And then next, what we'll do is do one from scratch so that you can see what it's like to do one from scratch. So let's go over to my history. Second here. And actually, let me just type in WeMerge AI. I don't think I put that in a project just yet. Newsletter. There we go. Okay, maybe I'm there already. I think I am. Oh, there we go. Yep, I'm sorry, I was already in here. All right. So one of the things that I did is that I wrote a newsletter that talked a little bit about my journey with AI this year. So since this is my LinkedIn newsletter about WeMerge AI, I wanted an AI specific topic. I started out by just really just kind of sharing like a moment. I said, let me scroll back. I use this GPT that kind of prompts me and asks me questions about how I want to tell a cinematic story. It got a series of questions that it'll ask, like, what's the moment that you recall that you want to share? How did it make you feel? So I answered like this long series of questions to eventually get to the point of getting the final copy of it. And the title is How AI Gave Me Relief When I Needed It Most. So it gave me my title. It wrote the content for me. I have a lot of quotes that I can pull out of there. Typically, when I'm creating content like this, I create a newsletter content that I can break apart. So you'll see in mine that I have stuff that I can pull out as carousels, as social media posts. I have all these different ways that I can format it. I did make a change to one of the parts because it says like I wanted more life, not more labor. I asked it to replace that with a different statement that I felt was going to be stronger. So I just had it rewrite it for me. So let's go from ChatGPT. I'm going to plug in the copy from ChatGPT into LinkedIn. I'm going to add some images so that you can see how that works. So I'm just going to copy and paste how AI gave me relief when I needed it most is my title. When choosing a title for your LinkedIn articles in your newsletter, you want to make sure that you have something that has a very strong hook. When people are scrolling and looking on the feed, if they don't see something that's going to resonate with an emotion that they can relate to, most likely they're going to continue scrolling by. What I like about this one and some of the key things that I kept inside of this is number one, I want to include the word AI or the letters AI so people know right away what it's about. And then the gave me relief when I needed it most. That's going to intrigue people and get people to thinking like, what did he need relief from? Or I might need some relief in my life right now. Let me pause, read this article, and see what this is about. So that's going to be the headline that I open up with. And now I have my byline, which I'm going to just copy from here. Usually doesn't take too long. I would say the thing that takes the longest when I'm doing this is typically the graphics. So what I like to do is just kind of copy this in phases because sometimes I want to break the text up and drop images in between. So you're going to be doing this with me in real time so that I can read through it. So I didn't expect a single prompt to change how I run my entire business. At 50, I found myself trapped in the business I built for freedom. On paper, everything looked successful, but inside, I was exhausted. Okay, so that's kind of like my opening. Burnout had crept in my mornings. The urge to escape into a new travel adventure felt louder every day. I kept imagining myself wandering through new cities, discovering new stories, but the way I structured my business made that life impossible. I wasn't unhappy, I just felt stuck, like the dream had quietly turned into a cage. So I'm going to stop there because what I'm doing right now is really just kind of setting the stage for the story that's going to unfold inside of this newsletter. I talked about the relief. I painted the picture about what I felt in that moment, what I was going through in that moment. Working with this GPT had really helped me kind of think through that process by asking the right questions. But if somebody was to read that and let's say they didn't go any further, I gave them enough information to know, to emotionally tie into what the topic is, and then to also to want to know more. So we're going to consider that like our first part of this story. Again, as I mentioned, I usually like to kind of break stuff up with images so that there's a visual cues that keep the eye wandering through the article. So I'm going to do something like that now. So let's see. I didn't expect a single prompt to change how I run my entire business. I wasn't happy. I felt stuck, like the dream had quietly turned into a cage. So it would be good to kind of have some type of image that might portray that. Let's do this. We'll do some real live image generation. I'm just going to copy that text right there. And what I'm going to do is come down here and say create an image that, let's say, goes with this text. So I'm going to put that part of the text in there. I want to give it some parameters. So I know on LinkedIn, I want like horizontal thumbnail presentation size. They typically with image generation, I'm gonna say create a widescreen image. So the image should be widescreen. And I'm going to tell it to use, let's say, purple and white colors. So I'm just going to do this for the sake of creating something. Oftentimes, I would have prepared whatever visuals and graphics I wanted ahead of time. Another thing that I could have done is use one of my AI images. I'll most likely use that somewhere of that, but I feel like most of the ones that I have don't go with that part of the story. So I'm going to see if I can find something that visually conveys what I'm expressing in the beginning. And I'm going to have ChatGPT create that for me. So let's see what it does in just a couple of minutes here that we give it to create it. While we're waiting for that image, the thing that I think is going to be important for you to understand about the value of doing this is a couple of things that I think are important for you to understand. One, just having LinkedIn, the platform, um, be a place for that your position, that people can find you, that people can connect with you, for you to be able to position yourself as an authority on a specific topic. Every time I was doing workshops and I was teaching people how people find you online, usually I would Google myself. And when I Google myself, one of the top things that always came up was my LinkedIn profile and my Facebook. So if people are going to Google your name and they're going to be shown your Facebook and your LinkedIn, you absolutely need to be creating something there. All too often, I see people don't use their LinkedIn. They don't have a profile picture. They haven't posted anything in years, but people are looking you up. So let's say you have business cards and you're out introducing yourself to people and you're giving people your business card, saying who you are. A lot of people are going to look you up first. Even before they even go to your website, they're probably going to look you up. So I call that positioning. And when you are doing business in today's world, know that people absolutely are going to search you because they want to know what other people are saying about you, how you show up. Like all those are things that people are going to search for. So if you're not taking advantage of the platforms that are going to position you in the top 1 to 3 spots when your name is searched, that's a missed opportunity. You want to make sure that you're leveraging any opportunity that you have to show up the way that you want to show up and be known the way you want to be known. So I use LinkedIn because all too often, as I mentioned, when I was searching my name, it would always come up and I would see like the wrong title. Maybe I've pivoted and I'm focused on something else that I want to be known for. And at that time, the profile listing doesn't reflect that. So pay a little attention to your LinkedIn profile. I promise you, if somebody was to search your name, especially if people are trying to qualify you to do business with you or see who you are and how you show up, they're going to look that up. Okay. So LinkedIn typically ranked in the top spots for me. So here is what it did. Okay. So some of the things I like about it, and I'll tell you some things I don't like about it. What I like about it is the colors that I gave it are there. Okay. So that's cool. I don't like that it actually took the text that I gave it and put it on the image. I didn't want that. But the emotional expression of the guy is in alignment with the text. So what I'm going to do, Acrobat is now in ChatGPT. Okay, interesting. I'm going to ask it because, of course, I didn't tell it to put me on there, and I do want something that might reflect me. So let's give it a couple of different prompts. I also see some typos. So let's say remove the text from the image and change the man. I'm going to try something out of the blue. Change the man to look like the attached photo. So what I'm going to do is try attaching one of my brand new shoot photos and let's see how good it gets. Uh, let's use this one. All right, so I'm going to give it an image for reference and let's see how it does. I also want to make sure because I'm smiling in this photo that I'm attaching that it keeps the expression. So remove the text from the image and change, let's say, the image to look like the attached photo. Make sure the expression of the new image matches hmm, I don't know how to word this, matches the sentiment of text. Okay. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's see. I always tell people like I think it's best if you don't know if it's going to work, just test it and put it to work and see what it does. Oftentimes, it's not going to always do exactly what you want it to do, but this is how you really get to learn the limits of ChatGPT and AI by testing it. You have nothing to lose for the most part by doing that. Okay, so images processing. Um, this weekend, Saturday, we have our Rise with AI workshop. And that workshop, I'm going to be doing more AI video exploration with Google Vids, it's called. A lot of you I know are business owners, so you probably have a Google Workspace account. But inside of there, they have this tool called Google Vids, which allows you to make AI videos, storyboard videos. And during our last workshop, I actually uploaded one of my images. First, I uploaded one of my client's images. Her name is Betty. Because she was like, "Oh, can we animate our images from brand new shoots using this video tool?" And I was like, you know what? Let's find out. So we uploaded one of her images. The image was kind of like an upper body shot, so you couldn't see like the legs and all that stuff. But we put the image in, said we want to have the subject in the photo walk up towards the camera, wave, and say hello. And can you believe that it actually did an excellent job within a couple of minutes of taking that still photo and turning it into a video? So that just kind of opened the door. Everybody on that call was just kind of like, wow, like we didn't know what to expect, but we tested it. And we were surprised by that. So ever since then, I've been doing more tests. And this weekend, Saturday, December 6th, we're going to do our next Rise with AI workshop so that we can spend some more time doing the video creation. If you're not registered and you want to join us, just go to ai.michaeldemond.com. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because I will start doing more of these mini pop-up workshops when I need to work on some stuff. I realize there's a lot of stuff that I do throughout the week that could be teachable moments. Okay. You know what? I think I'm gonna just use them, even though it's not me. The sentiment is there. Let's do it. Okay. So the good thing to me is my instructions were followed. That's what I look at. For the most part, were my instructions and followed. He looks similar. ChatGPT typically does not make recreations. That's kind of against their rule to make the same to use a real photo and make a person. So typically they'll get close, but they don't accurately do that. Inside of their new Sora tool, they do some of that, but they don't do that inside of here. So let's download this image. So now we have an image that we can use. When I put my cursor over it, I have a thumbs up, so I can give it a thumbs up. There's a little arrow here that's for downloading. And then there's a share option that allows you to copy a link to the image or to download. So plenty of ways to do it. I'm just going to click on download and save this image. And then I have a folder for my LinkedIn newsletters. And we'll put it in the article header. Let me just find that real quick. Oh, we merge AI. That's what it is. Hold on. And then there's a newsletter thumbnails. Okay, so let's just save this here. Um, what do we call this? Relief AI, just to give me a little clue. Okay, so there's our image. Let's go back to LinkedIn. And I have a cursor here on the page. Up above, there's an add image or video. So you can add images from your computer. You used to be able to embed a YouTube link. I believe they moved that to under the link option. But you can put images like multimedia things within your article. So it's not just text. So let's take the guy and let's just place him there. All right. All right, so we have our opening, how AI gave me relief when I needed it most. We have our intro. I didn't expect a single prompt to change however my entire business. Okay. And then I'm going to just put a little caption on here. Image generated with Chat GPT. Don't have to, but just something that I'm putting there. All right, so we have our opening, we have our image that kind of reflects the sentiment. Let's move on and go back to ChatGPT and let's go back to our article and get the next part. So you're kind of seeing all the things that I've generated from this. I generated carousel posts, Instagram posts, all these different things. Scroll back. All right, so our next part, where is it at? Okay, let me go back real quick. We ended on cage. Okay. So now we're going to do the next section. One afternoon, out of frustration more than strategy. So let's go from here. I'll read it to you once we get it over there. Okay, this is all still part of that. Okay, let's just copy from here for now. All right. So I'm just copying and pasting because, like I said, I already did a lot of the content creation inside of ChatGPT. So let's just kind of read through this. From the beginning, not the beginning, but the end of the beginning, I wasn't unhappy. I just felt stuck, like the dream had quietly turned into a cage. Quietly turned into a cage. Okay. One afternoon, out of frustration, more than strategy, I opened ChatGPT. I typed out everything I was feeling, the things I barely admitted to myself, and when the response came back, something unexpected happened. So do you kind of get like that suspense of the cinematic way that this is written? The GPT that I use for this, I'll make sure I put it in the video description afterwards. But it's good. It's really, really good. And it really takes your ideas and your words and gives it more of an emotional feel, which I really, really like. Um, like I've done a couple of posts using this and I get great um, reaction from it. I've been testing threads and using this model on threads and it's really been performing well for me. So I'm starting to incorporate it in like Facebook posts and LinkedIn and all of that. All right, so my own messy thoughts were reflected back with clarity. My frustrations were reframed with compassion. My vision was structured in a way I hadn't been able to see on my own. Okay. Some of that does not really sound, let's see, I typed out everything I was feeling, the things I barely admitted to myself. And when the response came back, something unexpected happened. So there's a little cliffhanger. My own messy thoughts were reflected back with clarity. My frustrations were reframed. My vision was structured in a way I hadn't been able to see on my own. So I'm going to just modify a little bit. My own messy thoughts were reflected back with clarity. Okay. My frustrations were reframed. I'm not going to say with compassion because that doesn't make sense to me. We don't need it. You really have to be careful with ChatGPT because it will add a bunch of stuff that might sound good and look good on the surface, but it really doesn't flow well. So I always read through this stuff. Don't just blindly copy and paste and go. Um, my vision was structured in a way I hadn't been able to see on my own, and it helped me say the thing I had been swallowing for years. I wanted more life, not more labor. Okay. They have these things called block quotes. I'm just gonna put it on so that you can see, but it kind of like takes certain parts and makes it stand out. I don't like the color or the way it looks. I wish they gave you more options, but that's what the block quote is for. I didn't know how to admit that to myself, and beneath that was another fear I'd been carrying quietly. I was afraid I built something I couldn't evolve out of. Okay, so let's just put that in block quotes. But the single moment with AI cracked something open. It gave me permission to look at my business differently, not as something I had to maintain, but something I could redesign. A year later, the things that started as a simple prompt, results have become real. A year later, the things that started as a simple prompt, I don't like that, have become real. Income producing products inside of Emerge Media. So let's tweak. This is why I say it's important to read. All right. So a year later, the things that started as a simple prompt. Oh, I see what they're saying. Started as simple prompt results. Let's just say the things that started as simple ideas have become real income producing products inside We Merge Media. That's the company name. So if anybody's just joining us and you're kind of like, what are y'all talking about? What are you doing? I am showing everyone how to create a LinkedIn newsletter. We're using some text that I developed inside of ChatGPT. We created this image here inside of ChatGPT and imported it in just so that we can break the text up and it wasn't just going to be a long read. I'm reading through everything just to make sure that this is coming across in the way that I wanted to express it. So we're just kind of going through that. The title of this edition of the newsletter is called How AI Gave Me Relief When I Needed It Most. This is really rooted in this morning when I decided, okay, it's Sunday. I typically like to write my newsletters on Sunday, whatever our topic's going to be. And I wanted to reflect back on my year and what's resulted from everything that we've been doing here this year. So this newsletter is going to be a reflection of that. And I'm going to send this out to the 175 people who subscribe to WeMerge AI newsletter. And LinkedIn is going to email those people when we're done and when we publish this. So we have that. Let's get the next part. Again, I want to break this up with an image. So a year later, the things that started as simple ideas have become real income producing products inside We Merge Media. They may not know what that is. Inside of my company, I'm going to say. Inside of my business, let's say. Okay. So this time, because that kind of sounds like a turning point, we're at the point of the story where something's changed and we're kind of like getting to the part where there's a turnaround. So I'm going to use one of my AI images. Again, go to add and go to my images. And I'm going to choose something that has a wide or horizontal landscape. So that's like a landscape proportion. I could do a square too. Um, but we're going to choose an image that works with this. Let's use this one. I don't think I've used this one before. All right. So again, this is an AI generated photo, part of our Brand New Shoot service that we launched this year. Brand New Shoots is actually the result of something that was produced from ideas generated in ChatGPT. Okay. So part of that was me looking at WeMerge Media and figuring out how can I adapt WeMerge Media to be something that evolves and has AI solutions. And one of the AI solutions that came across was providing like um, services, video, photos. So this brand new shoots that we launched, I worked through the name and all of that stuff, worked with my graphic designer to kind of create a process that we could use to generate these. And here we are. Now I am just noticing the hands look a little funny, but it's okay. I'm cool. I don't look for AI to be perfect all the time. It has the expression that I want, and I'm gonna leave that being there. So we have the image there. Let's go. I think we're at our final part of the story. Okay. So a year later, things that started as simple prompt results have become real income producers products inside. And even more importantly, my small team can now. Okay, so I feel like I might need to add some of this shit. Reading. Okay, so let's end here. Let's add to this part before we go to the image, because this is kind of continuing from that. So, income producing products inside my business. Even more importantly, my small team can now contribute to larger visions without me being involved in every detail. My methods, coaching, and creative frameworks now live inside GPTs. If you don't know what those are, Rise with the AI is this Saturday. You should learn. We've launched a full personal branding division rooted in AI generated imagery and video, which is true. Our lead generation funnels now run with AI supported messaging that resonates with the right people. That's a little messy. Our lead generation funnels use now run with AI supported. I'm gonna say processes. And I regained something I hadn't felt in years, breathing room. So this whole thing really kind of reflects back to a turning point to where I was just feeling bottled into the business that I built to not feel bottled. I had to really tweak things because I knew the way that I work and wasn't scalable and wasn't going to allow me to travel and work remotely the way I wanted to with very light load. So a lot of the things that I spent the last year doing foundations that I was changing is really rooted in this story that you'll read here. And AI was a big part of that. So now that we have that, let's close out. Let's see, I'm gonna copy all this. Ooh, so let me copy this. This is our final. So, okay, this shift wasn't about replacing humans. It wasn't about chasing trends. It was about relief. It was about finally creating space to live the life I imagined when I first became an entrepreneur. And if you've ever felt trapped by the very thing you built, if you've ever wondered whether AI can actually help rather than overwhelm, here's my truth. I didn't need more hours or more hands. I needed a form of intelligence that could take on some of the responsibility. So I like to just connect this. Not to replace me, but to release me. And we'll consider that to be the end. So I like to usually put like a divider, and typically I'll have like a footer text. So I'm just going to say, um, put my name, thanks for reading, or something like that. Oh, I got the perfect thing. My email newsletters, I have something that I use there. Let's use that as a closer, because what it does inside at the end of this is a way for you to actually cross promote other things that you have going on. And what I want to cross promote is this is AI. I want to cross promote my help desk and then my Rise with AI workshop. So let's do this. Let's go to the website ai.michaeldemond.com. Just going to copy. If you like to work with me on AI projects for your business, here are two ways to connect. So, first way, register for a Rise with AI workshop. I'll put that link, or become a member of the help desk. And then I'm going to put my help desk link. This is why it's important to make sure you have your online assets developed. Because if you ever need to just plug them in, I have these websites always ready to go. If people want to work with me, I'm typically steering them to those two things right now, unless it's a client who wants to come on and have marketing retainer services where we fully manage all their marketing. That's a whole different arrangement and conversation. But always have your main offers, which are these are my main offers right now, ready to go. Okay. So thanks for reading. Demand. Yeah. All right. Cool. So last thing that we need to do for this is we need to create a header image. Think of this as like a YouTube thumbnail. This is going to be the thing that people see when they're scrolling. So I actually have templates from previous newsletters. I'm going to go inside of Canva and pull up one of those. See if I can remember. There we go. So I've been using this layout. And let's use something with my photo on it. So what I'm going to do is just make a copy of this. Okay. And you get to see me do some Canva work today. Drag it to the front. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to swap out the photo. This was before I had my professional photos. So let's delete that. And we'll come up with our title. Shadow, I'm going to leave. We're also going to be changing the background. So I'm going to go to elements and let me just find something that's like newsletter related. Wait, no, this is about relief when I needed it most. Okay, you know what? I think I could just use like relief. Let's put the software to work. We don't have to overthink this. Background, image, relief. Relaxed. Oh, I don't want graphics, I want photos. Okay, that's one idea. Let me do something here. Let's see, serene. Trying to think what kind of background image I want. I kind of like this one here. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this other image and let's um, send this to back. Let's bring it forward one level. I'm going to edit this image and put a filter on it because I'm going to use it as like a background image. So let's maybe make it black and white and let's adjust the transparency a bit. Uh, I don't know if I'm going to use that, but for now, I'm just going to move it out the way. Okay. So let's just fill our background image in. Something peaceful that kind of goes with the whole serene idea. Then I want to put one of my photos on here. So I'm going to go to projects and folders. I have a folder with all my brand new shoots images. And I'm going to find an image of me. Okay. Uh, let's do that one. Let's remove the background. So if you're watching and you have brand new shoots photos, you can do more than just post those photos by themselves. Okay. Put that little glow back there. All right, so now we just need to come up with a headline. So if our title is how AI gave me relief when I needed it most, let's go back to ChatGPT and say, I need a thumbnail headline for this article. Um, Make it less than 3 words. So when it comes to the thumbnails, you want something that's going to be big and stand out. You don't want something too text heavy because people, if it's too small, they're not going to read it. It is really kind of meant to serve as like a reinforcement of what the title is. So let me see. I like rethinking work. Finally free would get people to be like, oh, what is he talking about? The shift, new freedom, my turning point. You want to pick something untrapped. Hmm. I think I've used something similar to that though. Freedom found. So let's play around with this. I'm going to use rethinking work because that's what AI is doing for a lot of people. Let's edit this text. I want to keep the same effect. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do rethinking. I like that. Rethinking. Don't want to do work. Let's make a copy of this. Let's change this one to say work. I'm gonna keep this because it might be some good subtext. Is there anything else that it gave us? My turning point. I kind of like that too. So don't feel like you always have to use stuff the way it comes out. I pick apart pieces often and create something new. So even though it wasn't written this way, it gave me a bunch of different ingredients that I can put together in a way that works best for me. And I like this now. So rethinking work, my turning point. That's going to be intriguing for people who are scrolling, who might see this on my feed and make them want to click. So let me just, that shadow, got the shadow behind the text so that it stands out a little bit. Let's do that. And let's just make sure my image is all the way to the front. It is, okay. So this will be my thumbnail. I'm just gonna make sure I center stuff here. Okay. We're gonna download this as a PNG page. So some of you, when you're watching this, you're actually probably going to get the notification once I download and publish the newsletter. The next part is when you publish the newsletter, you can actually have a caption that goes with it. So that lets people know that when you share it, it'll go to people in your network. So even those who may not be subscribed will have an opportunity to. Just naming my file. Again, if you have any questions as you're watching this, just feel free to put them down below. And when I transition to the next part, I'll take some time to answer any questions I see. Say, okay. All right, so let's go back and we're gonna upload our thumbnail. Second. A little glow thing behind me is off a little bit, but I'm just gonna leave it. All right, so now we can go through and we can look at the entire thing. And then our last step here is gonna be to publish. So, how AI gave me relief when I needed it most. I didn't expect a single prompt to change how I ran my entire business. At 50, I found myself trapped in a business I built for freedom. On paper, everything looked successful, but inside, I was exhausted. So, I think what I want to do is to give that some space to breathe on its own. I'm going to separate that. Burnout had crept into my mornings, and the urge to escape into a new travel venture felt louder every day. That's not going to make sense to people. So, burnout had crept into my mornings, and the urge to escape um, felt louder every day. Some people know that with this new time that I have, I've been focused on travel business. I worked in the travel industry before, and now that I have some space in my day, I've kind of gone back to working in that business while I'm continuing to run this business. But really looking to travel more, and of course, being a business owner, loving to travel, I'm going to travel the smart way and make sure that my travel can be something that's economically beneficial for me. So that's why I travel as a travel agency business owner, so that I can book travel for myself and earn commissions for my travels. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next cycle, the next phase of my life, is just really kind of bringing that back and still doing the marketing stuff. Like this allows me to have more flexibility now with the AI, to be able to do that from anywhere I am. And I don't have to carry so much work with me. All right. Burnout had crept into my mornings and the urge to escape felt louder every day. I kept imagining myself wandering through new cities, discovering new stories, but the way I structured my business made that life impossible. So I just took out the travel reference. So you see how it's good to go back and reread. Burnout had crept into my mornings and the urge to escape I felt louder every day. Um, I can actually say, but the way I structured my business made a life with more flexibility seem impossible. Okay. I wasn't unhappy. I just felt stuck. The dream had quietly turned into a cage. Okay. So now that I have this thumbnail image here, I feel like this image might be a little too close. I don't know that I necessarily needed it. It felt kind of empty before. Um, I'm gonna leave it. Oops, we're gonna leave it. One afternoon, out of frustration more than strategy, I opened ChatGPT. I typed out everything I was feeling, the things I barely admitted to myself, and when the response came back, something unexpected happened. Okay. My own messy thoughts were reflected back with clarity, my frustrations were reframed, my vision was structured in a way I hadn't been able to see on my own. And it helped me say the thing I had been swallowing for years. Hey, I wanted more life, not more labor. That's how I felt. It helped me say the thing I had been swallowing for years. I have to think about this. I don't even think I need this. My own messy thoughts were reflected back with clarity. My frustrations were reframed. My vision was structured in a way I hadn't been able to see on my own. I wanted more life, not more labor. That's clean. We don't need that. You see what I mean? They put stuff in there sometimes, and like you have to really like, wait, does that make sense? I didn't know how to admit that to myself, and beneath the truth was another fear I had been carrying quietly. I was afraid I'd built something I couldn't evolve out of. Okay, by that single moment with but that single moment with AI cracked something open. It gave me permission to look at my business differently, not as something I had to maintain, but something I could redesign. A year later, the things that started as simple ideas have become real and come producing products inside of my business, okay? And even more importantly, my small team can now contribute to larger visions without me being involved in every detail. My methods, coaching, and creative frameworks now live inside GPTs, which allows me to kind of like reproduce my interactions with clients. We've launched a full personal branding division rooted in AI generated imagery and video. Our lead generation funnels are now run with AI supported processes, and I regained something I hadn't felt in years, which is breathing room. So there's the happy feeling. The shift wasn't about replacing humans, it wasn't about chasing trends, it was about relief. Okay. Hmm. I like that on its own. We'll see. It was about It wasn't about replacing humans. It wasn't about chasing trends. It was about relief. So the shift. I think what I want to say here is something more about my reason for using AI. Okay. Because there's so much conversation in the news about AI and job replacement. Not to say that some of that's not going to happen, but in my personal story, I want to be a little bit more specific about what the shift is. So my reasons for using AI wasn't about replacing humans. It wasn't about chasing trends. It was about relief. Okay. It was about finally creating the space to live the life I imagined when I first became an entrepreneur. I was thinking back to like, you envision your entrepreneur life being a certain way. And like people say, you exchange the 40-hour work week for an 80-hour work week. In a lot of ways, that is very, very true. But I say the difference is always the fact that if you enjoy what it is that you're doing, doesn't matter if you're employed or if it's a business, that time really doesn't matter to you. And I enjoy what I get to do. So, and let's see, I was about finally creating the space to live life I imagined when I first became an entrepreneur. And if you've ever felt trapped by the very thing you built, if you ever wondered whether AI can actually help rather than overwhelm, something's missing there. Let's go back real quick. I want to just make sure I didn't do a crazy copy paste. Oh, I did make a revised. Oh no, that's Facebook. Hold on. I think I revised something and I didn't copy from the revised section. Yeah, it does end that way. That's weird. Have you ever felt trapped by the very thing you built? And if you've ever wondered whether it can actually help rather than overwhelm, here's my truth. Okay. Okay. I don't think I like the separation, but I'm gonna leave that for now. Here's the truth. I didn't need more hours or more hands. I needed a form of intelligence that could take on some of the responsibility, not to replace me, but to release me. Okay. So I'm just going to hold that. So we're going to consider this done. Newsletter done. We're going to hit next. Okay. So I have my next edition of We Merge AI newsletter. This is going to go out to the 175 people from LinkedIn who subscribe, plus anybody else who sees it. It says, tell your network what this edition of your newsletter is about. So now I could go back to ChatGPT and I might be able to just use, remember I said when I draft my newsletters, I also have it give me social media content that I can share. So I could either ask it to generate a caption or I could just pull from some of the stuff that I have here. So let's just see. Okay, that's a nice hook. I built my business for freedom and ended up trapped by it. That could be a good one. I didn't expect a single prompt. Yeah, I kind of like that, really. The moment I admit it, let's see, I built my business for freedom and ended up trapped by it. People see that as the caption, they're gonna wonder, like, ooh, like what is this about? Okay, so I'm just gonna use that. And I could also say I am writing caption to share the newsletter. I like this hook, draft caption for me. And I just pasted that line. Let's just see what it does. It might give me something I didn't think about. It's too long. Shorten it. Okay. Hmm. I built my business for freedom and ended up trapped by it. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the first line from that and the second line from this one. I don't want to give too much away because I got the thumbnail, I got the title. I don't want to repeat myself. I built my business for freedom and ended up trapped by it. One honest moment with AI changed everything. I think that works. So I'm gonna hit publish. All right. Congratulations on publishing your latest article. The newsletter has been distributed. All right, that's out. So that's there. You can share it to Facebook. You can share it to groups that you're part of. I don't know if anybody even still uses groups on LinkedIn. You can share to X, which I don't use. You can get the link to this article. I like to send an email out to my contacts in case they're not on my LinkedIn newsletter, and usually I'll link to it. Sometimes I'll take this link. So let's just see. Some links work, some links don't when it comes to previewing. I'm gonna go to Facebook. Actually, I gotta switch over. If I paste a link and it gives a preview, nah, see, I don't like when it doesn't give a preview. Like, see, I want the image to show like that. Let's see. And I don't know that it's gonna do that. It might just be a text. I did this before and it was just a text link and I didn't like that. So I will reshare that another way later. All right, so there we are. We did a published newsletter on LinkedIn, starting with one that I already have. I still have maybe about 20 minutes. I just want to walk through for anyone who does not have a LinkedIn newsletter, which I'm assuming is most of you, and just show you how to go about creating one. So let's go back into LinkedIn. Make sure you get logged in, and you're going to want to go to your profile. So I'm going to go to my LinkedIn profile because I do need to create another newsletter. And where it says write an article, there's two ways you can get to this. You can go to where it says write an article. I think you used to be able to go up here too. Yeah. So let's just go write an article. Under manage, click create newsletter. So I'm going to create one for brand new shoots. Brand new, um, brand new. I'm just gonna, I don't know if I might change this later. I don't know if I can change it after. Let's ask ChatGPT. That's what we can do. Let's go here. Do I have a brand new shoots folder? I believe if I just go to one of my projects, I want to get a name for brand new shoots. Let's see if I have a folder for it. I do. Okay. So I'm creating a LinkedIn newsletter that highlights personal branding and online positioning advice. I want to co-brand with brand new shoots, provide some newsletter name ideas. So let's see if we get any good names. Okay. So if I want to focus on identity and visibility themes, a brand new, let me zoom in here. See if anything stands out to me. Uh, brand new lights position. Yeah, the brand new method, I kind of like. Okay. Photography photos focused, brand new framing. It's not really about photography. Advice and strategy themes. Okay. Hmm. More creative and modern. The personal brand blueprint. Hmm. That could be very obvious to people. They would know what that is. Brand new POV, point of view. That's kind of cool. Digital identity, no. Brand new influence files, brand new credibility chronicles, no. The positioned professional, I don't mind. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So what I like so far, you focus. What did we say? The brand new method. If that was a newsletter, I feel like people would open that because, like, oh, there's a method I'm going to learn inside of here. I'm going to copy that. Let's use that. So we're going to call this the brand new method. How often do you want to publish? Let's say weekly. Let's ask it for a description. And I need a description for it. Is there a character limit? Oh, no. Okay. It's for a LinkedIn newsletter. Keep it brief. Okay, so I'm sure we don't have a whole lot of space. Okay, the brand new method. I'm just reading through. The brand new method is a weekly newsletter designed to help solo entrepreneurs strengthen their personal brand, sharpen their online positioning. Each edition breaks down practical strategies, mindset shifts, and modern marketing techniques to help you show up with clarity, credibility, and consistency. So your ideal audience instantly understands who you are and why you're the one they should trust. I like that part. So the brand new method. Okay. A weekly newsletter designed to like that. Again, picking apart the best pieces. Designed to position you. Okay, I got it. Designed to position you online so your ideal audience instantly understands who you are. Oh, we ran out of space, I think. Yeah, and why, who you are, and why you're the one they should trust. I really don't want to lose that, who you are. So let's do this. Let's plug that in. So your ideal audience. So the brand new method. It's funny, they have a character count, but they didn't tell me what it is. Weekly tips to help you. Oh, oh, I know what we can do. Let's just say connect with your ideal audience instantly. Connect with your ideal audience. Help your ideal audience understand who you are. I think let's try that. Understand who you are and why you're the one they should trust. That works. Okay. And then an image. So for now, for the sake of time, choose a brand new shoots. Hopefully I have something square. This is a square space I've learned. I could just use this. I'll update the image later. Okay. So there we go. Now I have a second newsletter. I had the WeMerge AI. I now have the brand new method. 0 subscribers. So once I create the first edition and publish it, then I will be able to distribute that. So what I'm going to do is work with ChatGPT to come up with some content for the first issue, and then I'll publish that. So if you want to know how that turned out, make sure you just go to linkedin.com. Look for me. I'm on here as Michael Damon Campbell, and you can connect to see how that version of the newsletter turned out. So I hope this information was helpful. I will do more of these if this is something that you want to see, you want me to do more of. I have work that I'm doing all the time, and I just realized some of these things I could be doing with you here on live so that people can tune in and watch. It may be something you've been thinking about, but just haven't gotten around to doing. So thank you for tuning in if you made it to the end, and hit the subscribe button and hit the share button. Share this with somebody that you are in business with, one of your business partners or friends, and let them know all the benefits about creating a LinkedIn newsletter. All right.